Welcome everybody. Let's talk about something topical today. We're going to talk about Scorpio season and everything that entails and what its mystical meaning really is. You know me, you know what I'm about. I'm about the true tradition of astrology, and I'm about diving deep into the spiritual, like the real spiritual truths behind this stuff. I'm talking about I'm talking about ancient mysteries, I'm talking about Platonic philosophy, I'm talking about rigorous, deep and detailed study as well as spiritual, physical practice in order to bring this stuff to life in our own lives, because if we just sit here and talk about it all day, it is completely meaningless, it's worthless, there is no point in us doing that. So what is the practical application? So Scorpio season, what is Scorpio? Scorpio, the words of Scorpio are, I desire. It rules the genitals. It's a water sign, fixed. The symbol, there are two. And this is the crux of our discussion today. First, we have the scorpion. And second, we have the eagle. Some astrologers will say it's the phoenix. Yeah, that too, kind of. That's slightly less important for our discussion. It certainly can be the phoenix. But I haven't really bothered thinking about that too much, because that's more focusing on the transformative aspects of Scorpio, whereas we're going to focus on something very different, which is much more, in my opinion, scientific, actually, than most astrology. This is that's always been my qualm with astrology, is that it, especially modern astrology, is that it focuses a lot on psychology, behavior, on sort of vague characteristics in people, and that can really I mean, of course, once you go for an actual reading, you're like, okay, well, damn, this stuff is real. It doesn't matter whether you do modern or ancient or Hindu or Greek or American, it doesn't matter. But in general, I would say that it's too vague and can be applied to, because it's psychological, right? There's always a psychological bent. There's always some bias behind the interpretation and behind the receiving of an interpretation from a person and from the astrologer. So the reason I like ancient astrology is because it, of course, you can never wholly cut that out. That's just a part of human life. You will never be able to get rid of that, but it does it the most that it can. Because everything is very clear-cut. The system, I mean, there have been a lot of disputes in astrology generally over the many millennia of its existence, but for the most part, the ancient astrology is the most straightforward that I've seen, and it doesn't pull any punches, actually. And this is the key, is the fact that it's not afraid to say, this is bad, X is bad, and X is good. Because, if I say Scorpio is a bad sign, this is true. It is a bad sign. Scorpio is literally the scorpion. What do scorpions do? They freaking kill you. That's a bad sign. Okay, it's not a good sign. It is a sign of being challenged. It's a sign of karmic debt. It's a sign of death. It's a sign of suffering, of rebirth being on the other side, but through the excruciating pain of being stung by a deadly, poisonous beast. So it is objectively a bad sign. Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer is an interesting one, but also Cancer. The water signs and the earth signs, these are the so-called bad signs, which are more difficult to deal with. Now, this doesn't mean that if you're a Scorpio, you're a bad person, right? This is the reason modern astrology doesn't want to talk about good and bad, is because they're afraid of hurting people's feelings, because people don't understand astrology at all. They think that, okay, well, for me, I was born in June, I'm a Gemini, so therefore everything about Gemini is me. No, okay? You are not a sign. No human being is a sign. The signs are in the sky. Human beings are human beings, and we are an amalgamation of all the signs, depending on their brightness, their position, the time of day, the time of year, the position of each of the different planets, the degree, the minute, the second, the phase of the moon that we were born under, the height of the tide. All of that is what makes the human being, not the signs. So the signs themselves are archetypes. They're a foundation upon which we build an understanding of a person's whole character. So, you know, say somebody's got Scorpio rising, and I say, look, Scorpio is a really bad star, a bad constellation. That's a lot of challenges. They may have the sun in Leo in the 10th house with Regulus on the meridian, you know, which would be the king. That would be the chart of a fucking king. There's just no doubt in my mind. This is somebody who would have obtained the highest success in their career. They would, yeah, full stop. there wouldn't be any question about that. But because Scorpio would be on the ascendant, it flavors the character a lot, right? It would give you somebody who has to do a lot of spiritual work first, somebody who has to go very deep and heal, even though they're going to achieve this success. So there are the ancient astrology is very clear. Let's just leave it at that. All right. I want to get into the important bit here, which is so Scorpio season, sexuality. This is the main theme of Scorpio, actually. Sex, death, taxes, inheritances, transformation, trauma, healing through the trauma, though not healing in like, oh, I'm so happy I'm healing in the, oh my God, I'm healing kind of way. It's the painful processing of emotions. So here we are in Scorpio season. So this is a time, so okay, what is Scorpio? We talked about the eagle and the scorpion. Now these are the two directions. In the ancient world it was the eagle, and the month of Scorpio in Babylon was ruled by Jupiter, Zeus, the king of the gods. This is wisdom, the highest wisdom, the pure wisdom, the king of Olympus, of the divine light. You know, there is no wisdom beyond this wisdom. This is the wisdom of God himself. So, wow, that's a change from Scorpio. The modern Scorpio, that is. Modern Scorpio is this sex, the death, the trauma. I mean, it always was, but there's subtleties to it. We'll get to this. Hopefully we'll get to it. There's so much to cover. I could be here for a friggin' 5 hours. That's why I need to do these live, but maybe I'll make this video a bit longer. So, all right, so Scorpio. The modern day symbol is the scorpion. Poison, armor, fear, you know, it's exoskeleton. Out of fear, it's armored itself against the whole world. It's fixed, you know, it's stuck in its sort of, what's the word, not reptilian, basically its animal brain, moving backwards and forwards, moving towards or away, fear and fight. And I guess, okay, if we want to go that biological, an eagle's not much different. But so why was it an eagle in the ancient times? If you know your Greek mythology, you know that the eagle is a symbol of Zeus, who is Jupiter, who is the divine wisdom, who rules in the month of Arasamna, which is Scorpio. Sorry, this is technical, ancient Babylonian stuff. Don't worry if it confuses you. It's really all the same thing. Just take the keywords that I'm saying and use that. You know, don't worry about my technicalities. That'll come with time. That's no problem. But I'm just using those terms and those words so that you know how deep this goes. That this is not just some flighty pseudoscience. Oh yeah, and the Scorpio, I feel that it's this, and the blah blah, I think it's that. No, this is like thousands of years of data, of research, of coordination between astrologers across millennia. This is like the real freaking deal. The tradition, our freaking tradition. So we're going deep, basically, is what I'm saying. You come in here, you're talking to me, you're getting... Okay, you can never get the truth from a human being. That's just not possible. You can only get the truth from God. But I'll give you my best damn shot. As far as this science can lead you to the truth, you can trust that I will do my best to get you there. I'm not here faffing around, you know. So now it's the scorpion. Modern days, it's the scorpion. So that's the bitterness, the jealousy, the poison, the envy, possessiveness, secrets, hiding yourself, you know, being in secret, holding back from the world, and being ready to attack at any moment, you know, because the world is a dangerous place. That's what the scorpion thinks, and that's how we all act these days, right? So this is the level of it, and it's about the sexuality. This is how we treat our sexuality, our sexual connections with people. They very quickly become like this: possessiveness, jealousy, envy, trying to protect yourself, self-preservation, being armored, being by protectiveness, that's what I mean, like protecting yourself above the other person, and always seeing the worst. Scorpio is it's the Mars sign, right? So it's this fight flight thing, always seeing the worst in a situation, in a person actually, or expecting the worst. And that, of course, comes from being beaten down by all your past traumas, which are our past lives, which is part of what Scorpio shows us. It shows us the pain of our past incarnation. And so this is where our sexuality is in the modern day. Why then was it the eagle in ancient times? Why this contrast? The eagle, this beast that can soar higher than any other bird and can still see even the movements of a tiny mouse on the earth. And of course, not of course forgetting that the eagle is Zeus. It's a symbol of Zeus, it's Deus. So this is very important, because in the ancient times, in those mystery schools, they understood sexuality and what its original purpose really is, and they had masters back then who knew how to use that power, that force. Of course, this is a topic that requires a long discussion. There's a book called Sexual Force or the Winged Dragon by Master Mikhail Ivanov. I might put that in the description. Definitely this is related to that. This is almost from that, what I'm saying, just with a little twist of my own energy, but honestly it's not that different. And in those times, they had the willpower, the strength, the spiritual level of consciousness to be able to use their sexual urge, which we always these days, we think of it as, lust and bad, and don't show that to people, don't express it, all this stuff. They knew how to use that energy to actually attain enlightenment. To bring them wisdom, essentially, to feed their wisdom and their spiritual life, their wisdom life, so to speak. And so that is the eagle. When you learn how to use your sexuality and you're not chained by it, you're not chained by your desire for another person, you're not trapped by envy and lust, then it becomes like the eagle. You've learned how to liberate yourself, your mind, yourself, your spirit, everything, your heart, to attain higher wisdom. Because the sexual force is it's the force of the universe. It's the force of motion and of creation. All of us, we owe our existence to the force of sex. If our parents didn't have sex, we wouldn't be here. You may not like me talking about it that simply, but that's just the friggin' facts, okay? So clearly, God is in this energy, but where? Hidden. It's hidden deep. That's another thing about Scorpio, hidden things. So hidden deep in this energy is the wisdom of God himself. And we need the utmost strength, the utmost diligence, the utmost dedication, and not only that, but creativity as well, to be able to understand the ins and outs of this energy, because it is the universal force that drives motion and change. So, man, I'm getting a little bit in over my head. What was I talking about? Yeah, I mean, there are many meditations that you can use and stuff. I don't actually... Meditation is a neutral thing for me. It's very, very useful if you want to serve the light. It can also be very, very useful if you want to serve the darkness. Meditation is neutral. Meditation doesn't make you spiritual. It makes you dedicated to something. It better be a damn good thing. Yeah. So... There's all kinds of meditation and stuff that you can do to sort of work with this thing, but the main thing is to change your relationship to it. Start to understand that the sexual attraction that is completely natural and that is very, very powerful and overpowering. The master, he says, What man can say that he's never been walking down the street and just seen the face of a woman and just been bowled over, just been starstruck, and women for the same. What woman can say that she hasn't walked down the street and seen the face of a man who she's never met before and just been enchanted, to been overcome with delight. Actually, that's what it is. It's delight, and there's so many things that come with that, all the depth of emotion that comes with this sort of connection. And of course, we have this with all kinds of people who we've never met before, because it's not for them. That energy is for you to reach heaven, because that impulse of love, that's what it is. Ultimately, it is the impulse of love. However, us human beings, we have so destroyed it, degraded it, degenerated it, that it's become about lust, about desire, about rape, about protection and possessiveness, all of these things. From both sides, from both men and women. We all are doing this shit. So yeah, you may ask, well, where is this supposed divine love that is in here? Well, it's up to us to find it, to unlock that. And part of unlocking that is not killing it, not pushing it so far down that we disown it, but also not allowing it to overpower us so much that we just become out of control, basically. We need to learn to have a harmonious relationship with this thing, where we subjugate it so that it serves us, and at the same time we are serving it, because it has its own flow as well, its own motion, and when it rises, it's about us knowing how to use that rise to fuel our own wisdom, our own life, our own deep Scorpio, deep connection with Marduk, with Zeus, with God, with the wisdom, with the mercy as well. Zeus is also mercy. Wise and merciful is the Lord. That's Zeus in ancient Greek. That's how you pronounce Zeus. Zeus, the God. So a little introduction to the powers of Scorpio. The man, what am I going to call this video? Something like the occult superpowers of the Scorpion. I don't know, something like that. In-depth occult powers of Scorpio. 5 ways to work with the Scorpio energy. I love doing those. That's so funny. Actually, I probably should have done that with this one. 5 ways to work with the energy of the Scorpion. You know what? Let's do that. I'm going to make that the title. 3 ways. We're going to do 3 ways for the Trinity. 3 ways to work with the divine energy of Scorpio season. So, number 1, meditation. It's just going to be the same every single... Man, I can't cop out like that, can I? But absolutely, meditation. You need to spend time alone in connection with this energy, contemplating it, giving thanks for it, because we owe our lives to it, actually. Without that urge, without the strength of that urge, the human race wouldn't be here. We would have destroyed each other by now. So give thanks to it. Build an understand, in meditation. Give thanks to it. Build an understanding of it. Build a relationship with your own sexuality, because it's like your sexuality is like another person inside you, and he's very riled up, or she's very riled up, and she just wants to go crazy and do whatever she likes, but you have to live with her. You are a house, and this is your flatmate, this is your roommate, is this guy or this girl who's got this crazy sexual desire. And you got to learn how to have a good relationship with this person that's inside you. And this is conquering yourself, not conquering in the you obey me. That's part of it. That's part of it for sure. You do have to have some force behind it. But you also need to learn how to have a good relationship with these people inside your own house, your body, your mind, your consciousness, your aura, your spirit. So meditation, spending time in contemplation, very, very important. Abstinence, powerful, very, very powerful. Once you are abstinent from your sexual, your sexuality, from having sex, basically, Once you're abstinent, and willfully abstinent, not unwillfully abstinent, but you say, okay, it's there and I'm not going to do it, or I'm actively going to seek not to have that. In order, this is why this is powerful, because when you abstain, when you remove yourself from something, you learn how to obtain that same, we could say, satisfaction, desire, fulfillment on a higher level. It becomes more refined, it becomes more noble, it becomes more selfless, because you're no longer taking from somebody else, you're no longer using somebody else to gratify you. You're gratifying your spirit is now gratifying you, actually. That's what's happening. But you're learning. You have to abstain first so that you find the way. How do I get to that level? You know, that's part of that. And this is not easy stuff. This is like lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes worth of work behind this. But this is how you start working with it. You have no choice but to start, as do I. And yeah, so meditation, abstinence, and falling in love. The person that you love is your gateway to heaven. They have done nothing. They are actually not worthy of your love, the person who you fall in love with. What happens is that through the awakening of those cosmic and primal forces, spiritually primal, I'm not talking about animal, spiritually primal forces of masculine and feminine, and their love, their mutual magnetism, where they're inseparably in love, dancing the dance of creation, when that's awoken inside of you, you are actually glimpsing, you are remembering the face of God. You are remembering your experience of the divine light, of Olympus, of Zeus, of all the gods, of the pure beauty, the one, the light, the fountain of eternal everything. This is what happens when you fall in love. So the lesson here is not for us to be attached to the person that we fall in love with, but to understand that they have become, God has given us through them a gateway to understand divine love, to understand Him, to understand His beauty, its beauty, the beauty of the beautiful, which is what the Greeks called God. Beautiful, fine, noble, good. This is what kalos, that's what it means, which is beautiful in ancient Greek. So, yeah, there's of course a lot more to say about this. I don't want to ramble on forever. I've done a little longer than I would normally do. I hope this has helped you and enlightened you. This is a very, very important teaching that requires absolutely decades of contemplation and dedication to really begin to understand. And I'm talking about begin. I'm not saying that you're going to become a master, even if you contemplate this shit for 5 decades, you know, the whole time. You'll get a piece of it. That's how deep this stuff is. This is how powerful it is. This is how infinite the light of Olympus really is. So, yeah, with that, there are your 3 ways of harnessing the divine energy of Scorpio season. May Zeus, Apollo, Athena go with you, and all the blessings of the beautiful, the one and the good. Peace.